Hey everybody, Professor Kim here, and I have got a super special episode for you because not only one game, but two games appear in my Board Games in the Classroom special right now. That means I've got two games that are hitting the same learning objectives that you want to see your students practice in the classroom, and in this case it is problem solving, logic, and probability. This is going to be a super quick session just for the instructors because these games are streamlined, straightforward, really easy to pick up, and super easy to get in the classroom. They are Streams and Figure It. Alright, I've got the games set up right here, and you're probably thinking, Kim, did you just pick these games because they're in little sacks? No, but it does make it super easy to transport and to use. And even better, the game Figure It has all of the setup directions printed on the back side of the canvas bag. So theoretically, you can just keep Figure It, drawstring, this is it. You can just carry this around with you because everything it tells you on the back how to set up the game. It's perfect. Now, I would like to start with Streams first because it has the possibility for a really large game, and then I'm going to get to Figure It, which is 2 to 5 players per box. Now Streams, as it says on the side, is 1 to 200. So theoretically you could have an entire class, several classes, a convocation or some sort of like gathering of everyone in the school. You could have them all playing the same game of Streams because all a player needs is a player board, which is easily printable and copyable. You can put 2 on an 8.5 by 11 and a pencil. That's it. Now, you're probably going to have access to the version called 20 Express. I'm going to put that in the comments and the description below so that you can find the links to print out the paper sheets and the instructions so that you know how to play this game when you're on your own. That means you just print these sheets out for all your students, tell them to grab a pencil, and you're ready to go. The thing that the game itself offers is the sack with all of the tiles in it. Now, these tiles are really nice. They have the look and feel of Scrabble tiles, so they have a lot of weight, and they're really well made. It is preferable for you to have an actual game, like my copy of Streams, so that you just have one master copy of the tiles in the bag. So that's what the instructor is going to use. What comprises the tiles in the bag? Everyone's player sheet tells them there is one copy of the numbers 1 through 10, 2 copies of the numbers 11 to 19, and then 1 copy of the numbers 20 to 30, and there's also a star in the bag, which is a wild. That can be any number that you want it to be, and all you do is just put a star in one of these spaces, and it counts as whatever number you want it to be. That's it. That's what's in the bag. Now, the tricky thing about this is, and where the logic, problem solving, and probability comes into play, is that there are only 20 spaces here. And your goal, every student's goal, is to write in ascending order, but of course you're writing them down out of order, but your goal is to go from lowest to highest. You want, for a perfect game, one continuous stream of numbers that keep going higher and higher and higher, or in some cases when you get those middle numbers, if they stay the same, that's great. That's just fine. What happens to your stream when you break it up though is you have to place a number after a number and it's actually lower. It doesn't continue going higher. So if you place a 14 and you put it after let's say a 17, you've broken your stream and you have to start a new stream with the 14 and then keep going higher from there. It activates those problem solving, logic, and probability skills that you want your students to practice. And as you go, you can even talk and analyze the probability of something happening, of where you're placing your particular numbers, and what kind of chance you have on filling in the gaps to create a perfect stream. And you can even assess after the game, how well did you do? What choices did you make? And how did those choices affect your overall score? This is perfect for a large group activity, but it also works just fine with one player. You can play by yourself. I think, though, that this would be a great game to add to your curriculum, to work on those learning objectives, and, of course, to have a great time with your students. And so I think it takes maybe multiple plays for students, particularly if they're younger, to pick this up, but it's so fast. It's a 10 to 15 minute game, and you can play it again right away. And so you can teach it, practice it, learn it, try it again, and just keep working on it, because every time you play, it's a brand new game with brand new statistics, brand new information that you have to figure out, digest, understand, and then apply. So I'm going to take just a couple turns into an example game for streams just to show you what I would do and the kind of advice I would give my students in their very first game. The first tile I drew is 15. So when I'm looking at my sheet, I know that I don't want to put 15 in the very beginning because that's for lower digits, and I definitely don't want to put it in the higher end because there are still numbers 20 to 30. And 15 is just smack dab in the middle, so around the center of your stream is probably where I would put 15. I'm going to put mine right above that kind of double line in the center. So that's my 10th digit out of my 20 digits. The next tile is 13. Now, some people might say, ooh, put the 13 directly above the 15. But remember, there are two 15s, two 14s, two 13s, and so I'm actually going to skip a space. And I'm going to put 13 in the 8th number spot. All right, I've committed. I'm hoping that I'm going to find a 14 or a 13 or a 15 before the end of the game. I drew 15. Okay, so my choice is to put the 15 above my existing 15 or below it. I'm going to put it below and still hope that I can get another 13 or one of the two 14s. I would hate to kind of hem myself in. So 15 right there. Ooh, that's risky. 8. 8 is my next number. Oof, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to put 8 in that 5th spot, right there on the corner, because I still have quite a few numbers to go before 8 and 13, and I still have 4 chances to put 1 through 7. 12, that's my number. I'm going to put 12 right before my 13. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep drawing, and I will show you my sheet at the end of this game. Okay, so now that my stream is done, I'm going to count in ascending order, and if I hit a number that's lower than the one I just did, then I have to start a new stream. Okay, so I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different streams, 3 of which were alone, single numbers, which meant 0. And then I had 2 streams that were too long for 1 point. And then I had my longest stream in the center, and it was 13 long, which meant I got 40 points. So moving on to figure it, again, we're looking at those same learning objectives: problem solving, logic, and probability. Now in figure it, it plays 2 to 5, and what you have is a secret code that you don't know about and everyone else can see. And so there's public information, there's private information, and you are trying to figure out your code. Let me get this set up for a 5-player game, and then we'll cut right back in. So I've got this set up for a 5-player game, and the reason I know that is because, again, I've got that really great sheet right here that tells me exactly what to do for 5 players. The number of tiles that you put in front of a player facing away from them, so I can't see my tiles, but I can see everybody else's, is 4. The amount of tiles that you can't see, 4. And the amount of tiles that you can see that's public information right here is 4. And you're going to change that for a 2, 3, 4, or 5 player game. So here's what it looks like. You are seeing everybody else's numbers. Now, the one thing you do know going into this game as a player is there is 1 1, 2 2s, 3 3s, 4 4s, 5 5s, 6 6s, and 7 7s. And that's all in the game. Now, we don't know what these are, and I definitely don't know what these are. So I can see everything but 8 tiles right now. And again, the goal of the game is to guess your code, and if you do it first, then you win the game. So what a player is going to do on their turn is they are simply going to say, do I have and they list a number. Do I have a 5 in my code? And someone is going to say yes, and they're going to turn over a 5 in your code if there is one. So in this case, you guessed, is there a 5? And I can see a 5 in your code. So I'm going to flip that code face up right here. And you can see you've got a 5 that is face up in your code, and you need to guess the rest of your 3 digits in your code. Now, here's the trick. Your turn is over, but you don't know if you have another 5, because we all know there are 5 5s. And you look around the table and you see no 5s here, no 5s here, 2 5s here, no 5s here, and then you can see my score, which I haven't seen mine, so I don't know what mine says. But if you don't count 5 5s, knowing that there are still some face down, you might think, I might have another 5 in my code. Now you keep that information to yourself until it comes back around to you. Every player is going to say, do I have a, and they list a number. Now if there is no number that they said, in this case this player has a 7764, if they ask, do I have a 3? And someone says no, that person has to remember, don't ask again, do I have a number 3? Log it away. Because you only have 7 numbers to pick from, but there might be multiples. And so the game just goes player by player until everyone has guessed a number and received information, which is, yes, here it is. There might be more, we don't know, or no, you don't have that number. Now, in a 2 to 3 player game, you can ask again if you are successful in one of your guesses. So you guessed a 5. If this is a 2 to 3 player game, you can ask, do I have, and say another number. And you get to guess again. Now in a 4 to 5 player game, you guess once, whether you're successful or not, it goes to the next player. And it keeps going around the table until one player has guessed all of the digits in their code. This is a great game for observational skills, problem solving, deducing, logic, and probability. You have some information, you don't have all the information, and everyone else is trying to do the same thing. And it's really interactive, it's really fast, and so I think you'll have a great time with Figure It in a very similar way that you'll enjoy Streams. This is a little bit more of a thinker and a small group activity, as you can tell, but we are working all of those wonderful skills and again, those learning objectives for this particular Board Games in the Classroom. I hope you had a good time and you enjoy incorporating both Streams and Figure It into your classroom.